question to answer, you see, but you see, I always tell myself, but we don't really have rights, you see, as black people, you see, in South Africa. You see, as I was just saying also earlier on, you see, because even, you see, the matter of rights, you see, also like, because it's a conditional, regard, you see, they give to people, certain people have got rights, you see, certain people, you see, don't have rights, you see, and so forth, you see. So even, the black people, you see, in this country, you see, they still, have to prove themselves, you see, in many aspects, you see, how women they are, you see, how they deserve their rights, you see, and so forth, you see. But that was just me, I wanted to say, you see, and also how even the Bill of Rights, you see, the human rights that we have, it is also very much more rhetorical, you see, it is very much good, you see, on paper, but when it comes to practice, it is always like another.
My view is that here in South Africa, it's difficult to talk about human rights, but there are these, or the kind of rights that we have, are not really the ones that you will reflect what it means to be an African in Africa. Because we don't have a constitution, a people's constitution. That thing that we have is a draft. It never consulted any communities, any people. So it was just an elitist exercise of a few educated people, and that was it. It never went through the channels of engagement and also consultancy. So, and then the kind of rights that we have there, it's liberal rights. Like the liberalism is much more enshrined in the constitution rather than having everything structural. Because here in South Africa, we're happy that, you must become that beautiful story from rags to riches. That's it, bombs there, has made it, that's it. And then, hence you talked about privilege. Like, white people will come to you, you are eating at a roads dining hall and say that you guys don't waste food, don't put food into the dustbin, because the other people in Georgia, the Grahamstown townships, in the townships that cannot afford this. You know how privileged you are to be here. You see how patronizing our white people generally, and even if they're young and students, they're undergrads, they still have that, So now coming to varsity, you must feel as if it's a privilege to be here. So it's supposed to be compulsory that you must enter varsity, and then you're not supposed to even to buy this thing. You get it? So here, we don't have structural rights to say that as a group we go together, as a group we do this, as a group we do this, so that you cannot just celebrate, in 2024 we'll celebrate that a first black woman to do this, a first colored woman to get that, a first what. We're not supposed to be saying those things. We're supposed to be normal to get these things because we were enabled to reach our great potential. So we can't say really that we don't have a constitution, that's what I'm saying. If you can start from the constitution, then we can talk about rights.
So I just want to say, first of all, I agree with what the brother said. But I wanted to touch, I think they touched on the, as something as a concept, about institutionality and like the basic, my very first idea when you ask the question, can we say that we do have rights? I'll just say, just watch the news on a daily basis. We see black people all over the country. There's a protest for water and sanitation. In other townships, there's a protest for houses. Black people elsewhere. And these are just basic human rights, things that, are supposed, a human being is sort of, it's a need for a human being to have those things. But every time you watch the news, you look at the newspapers, there's always an update about black people burning tires because the right is denied. So I think that alone just answers of how do we have rights today. But also, in moments where it feels like we do, it functions as a privilege, or as what Frank Wilderson calls borrowed institutionality. So when you feel like you do have a right, it functions as borrowed institutionality, and something that is borrowed, something that can take it at any given moment. So you might see, we might say, okay, no, but like people are protesting for house. It's not like all black people do not have house. In the basic human rights, there's that thing of the right to shelter and all of those things. I think the Bill of Rights here. But black people are always complaining that they don't have houses, they live in shacks. And then it goes to show that, okay, they are not humans, they are not obliged to get this kind of right. But what do you say about black people that have houses and those who even have mansions? It goes back to that idea of privilege. It always, at the back of the mind, is like something that they don't really deserve, and in reality, something that can be given and taken. The right that you feel like you have today to be in the institution can be taken tomorrow by exclusion or by any kind of thing that happens to black students that get excluded in this institution. So we have this ambiguous relationship with even the rights that we think we have. You can be evicted tomorrow, or your house can burn. So the right to shelter just be stripped away, just like that. Today you can have that broad institutionality, tomorrow it can be taken. Then you'll be just like any other black person who's complaining for houses, complaining for not getting into an institution, who's complaining for any other normal human right. So for us, rights function as a privilege or as borrowed institutionality. I can go on and make example about even like black people that became successful. For instance, there was a crisis. It's a shame, man. Especially what Nelson Mandela means to us. So there was this saga where the kids and grandkids of Nelson Mandela sort of auctioning everything. I think they're at the point where they could even auction an underwear of dad. Anything that has a relation with the dad. But it speaks to how the Mandela surname had that borrowed institutionality. At some point, Mandela was useful to white people. It was also a currency for anyone who has the surname of Mandela to just go anywhere in the country. There's no need for you to sell things if you are born as a Mandela in South Africa. But borrowed institutionality remains